I love it when YouTubers do these joint themes, analysing something popular which at the same time means a lot to them, and then more and more YouTubers get on and do the same thing, and then there's this whole series of your favourite YouTubers covering it. And now I have the YouTube channel, so I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. So in light of this series of videos where creators are examining their favourite villain scene, and since my focus on my YouTube channel is mostly on history, I think I'll cover someone from history who could be argued isn't actually a villain, but is often written and presented as one. I wanted to do something about Anakin Skywalker, but I think like 800 other people are probably going to cover him anyway in some shape or form, whether it's as Vader or post-Sand People slaughter or smashed helmet or his first canonical Force choke, so it would be hard to stand out there. So yeah, let's think outside the box. I know I promised that when I get to 10,000 subscribers, I'll make a video covering and comparing all the actors who played Thomas Cromwell, Henry VIII's right-hand man for a good decade before he lost his head on Tower Hill. But I think we'll have a look-see at one of his greatest on-screen counterparts. Enter Wolfe Morris, who played Thomas Cromwell in the Six Wives of Henry VIII TV series in 1970. Every word he speaks is with a purr. I know a lot of people say this, but he could indeed read the phone book and it would still be just as entertaining. It's actually surprising that he's only in half of the episodes of the series because his presence is so dominating. Now, I'm afraid I'll have to use stills for most of this because the BBC hates my guts when I use more than 10 seconds of anything they've slapped their name on. If you want to see the scene that I'm going to analyse in full, I really encourage you to seek out the series and give it a watch. This scene is from the Jane Seymour episode. Thomas Cromwell wasn't evil per se, but he certainly lived by a ruthless, callous and even malicious nature. He was the living proof that when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. His infamy is brought about mainly because he is responsible for sending at least 300 people to their deaths. Among them were renowned philosopher Thomas More, leaders of the Pilgrimage of Grace like Robert Aske and Thomas Darcy, and, of course, the Queen we all know and most of us love, Anne Boleyn. And most people, me included, do not like Thomas Cromwell because of how pitilessly he threw an innocent woman and several men under the bus and had them executed. If Cromwell was still alive when Catherine Howard was in the picture, she'd have lasted less than a week. This scene comes halfway into episode 3 of the series. It is widely known in the court that Henry VIII is infatuated with plain Jane Seymour and the Boleyn faction's influence is waning. But as long as Cromwell is on their side, the Boleyns will survive. A handful of courtiers, some of whom are meant to be allies of the Boleyns, like Jane Parker, Anne's sister-in-law, and the Duke of Norfolk, Anne's uncle. The rest are established enemies like the Bishop of Winchester and Edward Seymour. The courtiers are celebrating the rise of Sir Nicholas Carew to the Order of the Garter. And while this is a happy occasion, the party are more concerned for how they're going to oust Anne. When Cromwell is announced, everyone is suddenly terrified. If Cromwell is here, surely he's going to use his wit and cunning to trick you into saying something incriminating. And you'll soon be sitting in a cell at the Tower of London waiting for your inevitable execution. Every single character sat at that table will be imprisoned or executed in the next several years. And I think their inclusion in this scene was done deliberately in order to assert how dangerous this time was. Cromwell clearly wasn't invited to this dinner, but no one dares tell him to GTFO. They happily disparaged him when he wasn't there, but now he sat at their table, they dare not even glare at him. And Cromwell delights in seeing them squirm as he takes a long time to get to the point of why he's there. Norfolk tries to rage quit because he can't stand being forced to wait to see if he's going to be arrested or not. But when Cromwell assures him that there are no guards hidden away, Norfolk sits down. Then Cromwell picks up a walnut. And you know, when your villain picks up a piece of food, it is always an absolute gem to watch. As humans, we usually see eating as a chance to relax, but are also vulnerable. Animals are very picky about when they're eating because they have to let their guard down in order to eat. My cat Tetley will not eat when the dishwasher is on. So when your villain is confident enough to eat something in front of their victim, it is a demonstration as to how easily they can win a fight. And when the food is something like a piece of fruit that can easily be squashed, it symbolises the intended victim. And unfortunately, I can't play the whole clip without getting flagged, so I will have to quote it directly. "This nut, you desire to eat it. So first you must break the shell. But how? Between the fingers? They are not strong enough. I could, of course, rub the shell slowly, gradually, wear it away. I would eventually succeed. But I am hungry. I am very hungry. I would be famished long before I ever reach the fruit. And so, the secret, my friends, is force, and knowing how to apply that force.
To the shell's weakness, the protection of its heart.
Here Cromwell highlights the failed attempt this small clique has of trying to dissolve Henry and Anne's marriage by claiming the existence of a pre-contract between Anne and the Earl of Northumberland. This will annul the marriage, but Anne will still be there, still influential, still with allies. She is a danger as long as she is alive. Cromwell has devised a plan that will be swift and detach any allies affiliated with her. When someone is condemned with treason in Tudor England, supporting them is treason too. Therefore, he has devised that the only two crimes that will get Anne Boleyn out of power and pave way for the Seymours is to charge Anne with adultery and treason. Anne is represented by the shell of the walnut, and the nut inside is the chance for these courtiers to advance their ambitions through Jane Seymour. Edward Seymour himself is quite shocked that Cromwell would even suggest framing an innocent woman, but Cromwell has no time for sentimentality. And sure enough, we cut to Anne Boleyn's execution. The viewers have already seen how he manipulated events to bring about her downfall in the previous episode, so we already have his charismatic takedown. This scene clearly takes place before all of that, and it's kind of like when you're watching Star Wars, say you watch Revenge of the Sith first, and you see how Palpatine outwitted his enemies, and then say you go back and you watch the Clone Wars TV series, and you watch this scene where he says,
"For now we must adhere to the principles of our democracy. We must let the wheels of the Senate turn."
And this scene pretty much displays everything that makes Thomas Cromwell who he is. He is influential enough to be feared, but he is aware that he needs to make alliances with people he would otherwise consider enemies. He didn't like Catholics, yet at least half of the people at that table are Catholic. And he can manipulate people all he wants when he's Henry VIII's most trusted advisor. His enemies couldn't find a single crack in his armour until Henry came storming back from Rochester in 1540 after meeting Anna of Cleves, shouting, "I like her not!" Cromwell was kind of like Scar from The Lion King in that regard. And even though it's a shame we never got to see Jeremy Irons add his velveteen voice to the role, Wolfe Morris is without a doubt on the god tier when it comes to this man's on-screen counterparts. And guys, if we get to 10,000 subscribers, you'll get to see how I feel about the others. So you better get on that. So make sure you subscribe and click that bell icon so you'll be notified of other videos from me, and liking the video will help spread it around a lot more. Okay, I'll see you next time. I got Anna of Cleves to sort out. Bye.